Start here in just a moment. Alrighty, everyone. So it is currently right now 3 p.m. on the East Coast. I hope everyone is doing well. For those of you who may not know me, my name is Nicholas Merten. I'm the founder and CEO of Digifox. And today I'm fortunate enough to be joined here with Hope Szymanski, our head of operations. Hope, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good, good. I'm excited for the webinar. You know, just for those of you who maybe are attending your first webinar, maybe you've been to one of them before, we like to do bi-weekly webinars, just kind of going through, talking about the product for those who may be new, also exploring into interesting categories. We did a week where we kind of compared against some of the other smart wallets out there, but just generally get to converse with you all and also get to hear some of your feedback as well as some questions you might have about, you know, utilizing Digifox. So before we get into everything, I just want to talk a little bit about the format. Hope is going to be taking over. You know, she's not only well-versed with the product being our head of operations, but she does a great job of explaining just kind of the core functionalities of what we offer through Digifox. So she'll be doing that for the next 15 minutes or so. And then outside of that as well, we're going to be opening up the floor to Q&A. The one thing I would ask you all please to consider is that if you're having any technical problems, please feel free to contact our customer support. You can find it, and Hope will actually display it during the demo, but you can find it under the profile tab under the wallet and stuff. So you'll be able to get any kind of technical problem solved. We want to fix those as soon as possible. So without further ado, Hope, take it away.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Nick. And also, like as Nick mentioned, we're going to be doing a Q&A at the end of the presentation. It's actually going to make up the majority of our conversation. At the bottom left-hand corner, there is a Q&A option in your Zoom window. Please submit your questions there, just so it's easier for us to keep track. And then if you put them in the chat, they might get lost. So if you can just stick your questions in there, we'll be able to get to them and make sure that they get answered. You can feel free to do some chatting and banter in the chat, like Owen has just done. So his is hi from Switzerland. So hello from the United States. It's super cool to meet you. I'm gonna share my phone screen and then kind of walk through the Digifox app. To be completely honest, you guys probably know more about crypto than I do, but I'm gonna just walk through the app from my perspective and kind of show you a little bit more about like what I'm using it for and the newer features that we have. So, all right, let me share really quick. Screen. All right, Nick, can you see that?
Yeah, but it's coming through perfect.
Cool. All right, so this is the main home screen, my wallet basically, and you can see the total balance up here on the middle there, kind of like my total assets on Digifox. And down here we've got two tabs. We've got the coins tab and we've got the savings tab. The coins tab kind of just shows me the different coins that I have available to swap, deposit, or trade. I have Ethereum and I have USDC. The main purpose of my wallet, like in my personal goals for what I'm doing with it, is I'm actually putting all of them into savings. I transferred the Ethereum that I have in here actually from Coinbase because I wanted to be able to earn interest on it in Celsius. And the USDC I deposited from my bank. So I can show you how that all works in a minute, but I'll show you my savings first. So these are all deposited in Celsius. We have two different deposit partners. We have Celsius and we have Compound. I'll show you that too in a minute here. But these are the funds that I have deposited in Celsius currently because I'm kind of going for more of a long-term savings approach. So if you click into the account specifically, you can actually see how much interest that I've earned from keeping this amount of money in Celsius. And I've actually only had it in for 3 or 4 weeks. And not all of it has been in there the whole time. So it's pretty cool to be able to see the interest that you've earned from your savings account there. You can deposit more, withdraw from here as well. It's similarly, I can click on the Ethereum and see how much interest I've earned there. I just deposited this, so I don't earn very much interest on it. but it's there. And if you click on the Receive tab there, so it pops up, there we go. This is my Digifox wallet address. So people can scan this. I actually tested it out with a colleague the other day. She scanned my phone and my address popped up in her Digifox app, and she was able to add me as a contact to send me USDC or tokens or anything like that. So you can just copy that too and send that, and that's how I transferred the Ethereum from Coinbase, is I copied the address and I put it into Coinbase, and I was able to transfer the Ethereum that way. But that's a really easy way to find your address. This is if I want to send money. So these are my contacts. That's the nickname for my colleague. Don't judge. And then if you want to swap, these are the coins that I have available to trade. I don't have very much available to trade because that's not my main purpose here that I'm doing. But if I wanted to, I could click on the coin that I wanted to trade. It takes a minute here to load, especially when I'm sharing my screen on Zoom. There we go. And these are all the different coins that are available to trade. So I would just go through and find one that I like or want. Maybe it's that, and then it would show the trading screen, and I could type in an amount to trade. I don't have very much funds, so if I put in an amount, it would be really uninteresting, so I won't. But if you put that in, it would tell you like the conversion rate. I'm pretty sure it will, even if I don't have funds. I don't have enough funds, but that's what it would look like.
Yeah, it'll basically, like you can see here that you get the appropriate bat. So basically what Hope did here, she just typed in $90, and it's basically showing her the equivalent amount of bat in this case that she'll actually be able to get from the trade.
I don't have enough funds to do that though, so I'll just cancel it. If I want to add funds to my wallet, I can click this add button here, and I have the option to use buy with a debit card, pay with a bank account, or I can send tokens from another exchange like Coinbase or any other one like Dharma or whatever. I have always just used the buy with bank account option because I'm going for as much savings as possible, and it does take longer. It's kind of a 5 to 7 business day transaction through our third-party providers, but it has a lower fee, which is why I've done it. And if I'm being patient and I'm not trying to get in and make some quick trades anyway, so I'm just going to deposit it into Celsius. So that's the best option for me personally. If you're trying to get in with a certain trade, you might want to deposit with a debit card because it can get in there faster. You can make that trade a little bit quicker. If you click the Earn More on the upper right here, this is kind of detailing our referral program, which ties into some of our investment challenges that we're running currently. But this is kind of cool. If you invite friends to Digifox and they sign up and start investing in themselves, depositing into Celsius, then you and your referees can earn a percentage of fees from your referees. You can get lower trading fees, free transactions. If you want to see the details of these, you can just kind of click into it. So I'll click into silver. You can see the specifics of what you need to do to get to that level and what you get if you achieve this level. And then I believe you and the person you referred also get $5 USDC as well. So this kind of plays into our contest that we're running right now. We're running a contest for referrals and then also a contest for investing in yourself. You can check it out on our Twitter page. We have some details on there. It's the pinned one at the top, video of Nick kind of explaining everything. So then if you go to the profile tab here on the right, you can update your profile. You can add a PIN code for more security. You can also check out our help center here. We've got a lot of helpful articles that we've written to kind of help people learn more about the finance world and also Digifox in general. A lot of these articles were written by Samantha Clarkson. She's our head of content creation. So she's kind of writing these articles to help people understand more about finance, like what is APR, is Digifox secure, things like that. We've got specific sections specifically on security down here written by Nick and myself and one of our other teammates. So if you search for an article, you should be able to find what you're looking for. We're adding new ones every day and every week. So there's always new content going up there to check out. And if you can't find the answer there, we also have a contact support where you can actually talk to us live. I was talking to a bunch of people earlier today. So it's super fun. We love chatting with you guys. Like, you know, positive feedback, negative feedback, we welcome it all. So it's super fun. You can talk to Nick, you can talk to myself, Samantha. We have one of our team members, Dominic. So there's all these. You guys can talk to us from 7 to 5 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Friday. To be honest, we're online like all the time for the most part anyway, but these are our dedicated hours that we're online. So if we happen to not be online, just send us a message and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. But it is really fun to chat with you guys. And if you have questions, you can find an answer with an article here as well. But yeah, I don't know if I'm pretty sure I covered anything. Nick, did I miss anything?
Yeah, I was just going to say the one thing I thought about, Hope, it's good you showed the help center and the contact support. I would definitely go and just take a look to the Earn tab a little bit, because you showed what Hope has shown so far, everyone, is basically the ability to obviously check on your current opened accounts. But as Hope will show by clicking the make a deposit button, this is basically where you initiate that first deposit. Yeah, so as Hope has mentioned, we have a lot of different partners. We have Celsius and Compound. And just for those who may not know too much of a difference on these two and like which one to pick, many of you out there in the crypto space obviously understand this is a crypto smart wallet. So in this case, you have two different options. You have Celsius, which is more of similar to like a traditional bank. They're a custodian that owns your money. They lend it out to borrowers. They're a matchmaker between depositors, such as many of you out there who might be wanting to earn interest, and also borrowers on the other end. Right now, you can earn up to 8.34% on your dollars as you transfer them over to Digifox in the form of USDC. And then outside of that as well, there's Compounds. You can see here as Hope's showing, it's just extremely simple. After you've done your KYC, it's basically it's basically standard regulatory protocol to identify you are who you are. You connect your bank account through one of our deposit partners. And once you get those funds migrated over, it's just typing in a simple amount, just like Hope shows. You click review lend and you broadcast it out. It's very simple. And we try to make this like as little clicks as possible, just to make it extremely simple and get users into that mode of actually earning interest. But yeah, no, again, the only
I only have 1 cent available though.
Yeah, exactly. We can't really demo too well and stuff. And quite frankly and stuff too, one thing we will recommend to all of you right now is that we recommend not only doing the bank deposits, just generally speaking, you have a higher deposit limit. So if you're looking to earn interest, you'll be able to migrate more over. But along with that as well, right now the network fees on Ethereum are extremely high. So we're an Ethereum wallet. So this is one thing to keep in mind. You don't want to do a lot of smaller deposits of like $10 or $20. You really want to try to move a lump sum over at once. This is not going to be the standard in the long term. It's just a short-term problem that's going on with Ethereum right now. It's sadly out of our control. But anyways, yeah, Hope, I think you covered everything pretty good. And you demonstrated as well that it's not just, stable coins like USDC, but you can earn interest on Ethereum. We're going to have Bitcoin support soon, Litecoin support. So if you've got crypto sitting in an exchange, you're already trusting someone to hold your funds. Celsius pays out interest on that crypto as well as holding your funds. So it's a win-win. There's just really no negative in that case. You're basically just being able to earn interest. Whereas on the exchange, in many cases, exchanges are earning interest and they're not paying it out to the actual holders of the currency. So very important thing to keep in mind.
The other day when I think I asked you, Nick, I was like, Nick, is there any, do I get interest for keeping my Ethereum in this exchange? And you're like, no.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cool, I'm moving it.
Yeah, exactly. You just you almost feel a bit betrayed, because the thing is they already charge fees as a platform, but they don't share with you in many cases that they're earning interest on the background, because they basically, and I'm not gonna say Coinbase, but a lot of other exchanges out there have secondary markets where they lend it out to other institutions, margin traders, anyone who will pay them for that capital in the short term. And again, that's very standard. That happens in traditional banking. But it really is kind of discouraging when you learn, like, wait a minute, I'm not earning anything for this. Like, I'm making up the ability for the exchange to go out and make this money. Why aren't I getting a cut? It's just like traditional banking that pays practically nothing on interest accounts. So yeah, we really want to shake that up. We want to give you the best opportunities. And our whole business model, as maybe even Hope can add on and stuff, like every single feature we offer is where when you grow, we grow as a company. We want to work with our users to constantly have you investing in yourself, growing your long-term savings, exploring digital assets like cryptocurrencies if that's something of interest. So things like that.
Yeah. Cool. You want to dive into the Q&A?
Absolutely, yeah. Let's go ahead and let me pull it up here real quick. All right.
Yeah, we're gonna probably bounce back and forth depending on the question. But this one first is from Simon, who asks, "Will charts get integrated in the app in the future?"
This is a good question, actually. I know I can step in on this one. In the sense of design, yeah, we are looking to have basically what we call analytics, like an analytics view. So right now, we really wanted to build Digifox to serve as a replacement for your bank. And if you think about it, most banks usually don't display a chart, especially if it's a savings account. So that's what we basically wanted to do, is to imitate the feeling of like kind of a new age bank. However, at the end of the day, Digifox not only isn't really, it's a bank, it's not a bank. You're basically holding your own funds, or you're depositing through Celsius, who is a registered, has an actual registered banking license. But outside of that as well, we originally actually had a chart in design. So we're going to be adding that back, and you'll basically be able to switch between kind of a simple view of your current total balance with your holdings, and then one where you have an actual chart and analytics about your portfolio diversification. So we're very excited for that, Simon. So I appreciate the good question.
Anonymous attendee says, "What service provider do you use to trade coins/tokens?"
Yeah, so when you're making a swap through Digifox, you're utilizing Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange. So this kind of goes towards our mantra of trying to provide the best utility, but also trying to do it as decentralized as we can with it, so long as it makes sense for our users. But Uniswap is one of the most liquid decentralized exchanges. So you're able to basically, in an autonomous way, make swaps without trusting Digifox with your funds or anything of that sort. So it's really cool. And the nice thing is you can get access to a wide range of tokens. So I don't know if what your interest is in, but if you're keeping up with decentralized finance or enterprise blockchain tokens, we've got a wide range of them offered through Uniswap and our seamless integration. So it's all very intuitive within the application. That Uniswap is our core provider.
Mm-hmm. And then another anonymous user says, "Interested in the third parties used for purchases and bank deposits." I'm assuming they're talking about like Gem and Wire.
Exactly, yeah. So we have some integrated in. Anonymous, basically, we have, if you're in the United States, you would utilize Gem. If you're in Europe, you would use Transact, or if you're in Canada, you would use Paytree. And also Gem would cover for Australia and a few other areas. However, Gem is one of our our kind of lagging performing providers right now. So we're looking at a few different alternatives in this case for our user base to be able to do deposits from the United States, from Australia, from Europe, not only to get better coverage and much better retention of actually being able to come from your bank into the app, basically what's known as a bounce rate. A lot of users end up not being able to get their payment processed through, but we're going to be doing one that has much lower fees as well in September. So we're really excited about that. Basically 0% fees for ACH, debit transfers, things of that sort. So we're very, very excited for that. But yeah, so that's coming in September. Nonetheless, I wouldn't discourage you from trying to make a deposit. You basically, as Hope showed, you just have to click the add button, and you'll be able to make a deposit.
Yep. Oh, I feel like we've talked to this person before and we learned how to pronounce their name, but now I forgot. So sorry.
We'll pronounce it. The symbol I'm seeing, because Zoom will always put your first and last name initials. We'll say PH. PH asked, "Can we deposit from a prepaid Visa?" So yeah, basically, PH, like, from what we know, it really depends on the provider. To my knowledge, if you're using MoonPay, you should be able to, but again, I think all in all, if it doesn't work, you'll get rejected. Like, it'll tell you that the card is not valid unless it goes through. So if you want, I mean, again, I know it's probably not the clearest answer. If you want to go ahead and give it a try on MoonPay, go ahead, give it a try. But basically, again, like with most of these systems, it's very rare that a charge goes through and then they have it charged back from the actual like payment processor like MoonPay. So I would say it's worth giving it a go. There's really, from my knowledge, there's not much harm in trying to do it. But yeah, no, we want to hopefully provide as many on-ramps as possible. So if it isn't available now, we will hopefully support prepaid debit cards up to a certain amount. Of course, making sure that we keep compliant and meet regulatory standards.
Cool. Anonymous says, "Can you give a few more details on the wallet itself?" I'm assuming value proposition, or maybe we could talk about smart contract wallets.
Yeah, that's anonymous. It might be good. Maybe Hope that you can look out for it as well as I start to talk about that, just in case if this isn't what he was going for, or he or she. But I think if you're wondering about how we actually operate as a wallet and Digifox, we take security as one of our highest standards before anything, even before convenience and application. So we basically have built Digifox in the mindset of being intuitive to use for everyday people, but at the same time keeping a very high standard of security. So the traditional wallet in the crypto space utilizes seed phrases, and thank you. With seed phrases, you have to write down the 12 to 24 words, and that can be secure if you know how to properly store that. But 90% or more of users don't write down their seed phrase, and along with that as well, the vast majority of people who write it down, right, have to be worried about the risk of losing that seed phrase, right? You're actually more likely to, lose that piece of paper, forget where it is, or, it gets damaged or wet or something like that, rather than what we actually utilize as security. So we utilize a 2-token system using 2-factor authentication between your phone and your email. So when you register your Digifox wallet, as you might have already experienced, I don't know if you've set up an account just yet, we'll ask you for a username. You basically, we ask you for your phone number, you get sent a 6-digit code, and then we ask for your email, you get a 6-digit code to your email, and it registers an account. A much better onboarding experience than having to write down a 24-word seed phrase, but at the same time, something that's highly secure, where even Digifox doesn't have access to your funds. It's you as a sole user who manages your funds, in this case, your keys. And the great thing is that you can recover your account through those same 2 means, because we use the 2 points that exchanges and a lot of the other major websites and technologies out there today utilize to verify that you are who you are, right? No one should have access to your email other than you. No one should have access to your phone. So again, if you want to have an extra layer of security, if you're worried about like someone breaching into your phone or your email, always use biometric data. If your smartphone allows for it, use biometric data, set PIN codes, not just on your mobile phone, but also on Digifox. We have all these layers of security, so you don't have to sign out of your wallet, but it just makes the whole experience really intuitive.
Yeah. Cool. Simon says, I see you're using an Android as well. Yes, I am. When will the change of your balance percentage be working? It's actually a good question.
Yeah, so from my understanding, Simon, I have to actually talk to Chase about that. It's one of those like minute things. I'm trying to think back on like when we pulled that. I think we were having some issues. So because of that, we basically just kind of pushed it off, and we will reevaluate and basically put it back in the app. I think as soon as we possibly can. We're going to be doing a pretty decent like set of UX pushes in late August and early September. Right now, though, I think there's probably a reason we postponed it, because there's probably some issue with the React Native code. So we'll have to kind of bounce back with our team and see when that can likely come up. But Simon, if you message in our chat, it'll remind us basically in the customer service. We'll basically relay or tag Chase in the conversation, and he'll let you know as soon as possible when we can shoot for that.
Exactly. Yep. That's kind of how we do it, is whenever anyone has like a feature request or a bug report, we'll tag the appropriate team member in Intercom, and then we kind of keep track of everything from there.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Yeah. Let's see here. And then Anonymous had asked, what is required for the KYC AML? Are your services available globally? So yeah, Anonymous, we have a pretty wide global coverage. In regards to KYC and AML, these standards are set by the actual transmitters, like the actual payment processors themselves. So we're just allowing them to set the standards in this case because they're fully compliant. So the way that it works is if you're using something like MoonPay, there are different tiers if you're using like your debit card through MoonPay. If you're doing like small amounts, like below $50 outside the US, you don't need to provide any KYC. That's just their standards. But in most cases, you're going to have to provide not only like maybe a photo of your license, but basic information, details about yourself, like date of birth, things of that sort. So it will vary depending on provider. In the sense of global coverage, for debit cards, we practically cover any country you could be thinking of, outside of a few sanctioned areas. And then outside of that, for bank deposits, we cover the United States, Canada, the vast majority of the EU, the Eurozone. We also cover Australia, and we also cover India, a lot of major markets out there. And we're looking to expand it even wider as we go into September. We're gonna have a big fiat on-ramp push that basically makes it where it can be accessed globally, and we dramatically will reduce our fees as well for stablecoin deposits. So we're very, very excited about that. but it's going to be about a month and a half out.
Another anonymous attendee says, where do you, Digifox, make your percent? I'm assuming they want to know how we make our revenue.
Yeah, exactly. So we're very open about how we make revenue as a company. So the fees that you see as a user are basically the major way we generate revenue. We charge two types of fees. We charge a 1% deposit fee for any new deposits. So as you basically, if you were to deposit, say, for example, $1,000 into Celsius, we do a 10%, a $10 deduction. In that case, we're basically $10 or 1% for Digifox as immediate revenue for the company. But after that, it's a one-time fee. So we're not charging additional fees on your deposits as you keep them in there and they're compounding and growing. But the second thing as well that we also make when it comes to deposits is we get 1% and referral income recurring. So this is how we make long-term revenue. And this is cutting out Celsius's bottom line in this case, basically. They're sharing the revenue as we're bringing traffic to their deposit network. The second fee that we make as well is with trading fees. So we charge 0.49% on all volume. So if you're doing like a $10,000 trade, we would charge $49 in this case. So again, that's a much larger trade than most people are doing on the platform. But if you're doing like $1,000 in this case, it'd be $4.90, something very minuscule. In fact, it's 1/3 of the fees that Coinbase charges. So we wanted to get fees down as much as possible. Now that does depend if you're buying like your first crypto through one of our fiat on-ramp providers, the fee can vary, but we don't make money from that. And there's a secondary fee that many people will see called a network fee. That is not from us. It's basically just what we need to charge in order to compensate a lot of the core technical cost of getting your transaction broadcasted. So hopefully that makes sense. But the real fees we generate revenue from are from our trading fee and our deposit aggregator fee.
Mm-hmm. Another anonymous question says, sorry, right now I have coins in the Digifox wallet. What is the risk of lending it out? What's the difference between Digifox and Lend.io?
That's a great question. So I'm assuming Anonymous basically watches the Data Dash channel. Either maybe they just know about Lennon, but we talk about Lennon a lot on the channel as they're one of our sponsors for my YouTube channel. So in this question of having your coins lent out. So the only risk in this case that you're really trusting is that Celsius has your better interest, or Compound as an autonomous protocol is going to be properly programmed and secure. And we only integrate some of the most secure partners out there in the market. Celsius is one of the longest standing deposit partners on the market for cryptocurrencies. It's founded by Alex Szymanski, who is the founder of Voice over Internet Protocol, the technology we're using right now to do this call over Zoom. So really, really cool thing about Celsius. But in regards to that, they use some of the highest security standards and best custodial solutions on the market, but also Compound as well as a smart contract platform where basically if you want a little bit less trust, if you don't want to trust Celsius as a party, you could always do Compound. The thing about that though with Compound is that it's an autonomous smart contract. So you're trusting the code and basically that it's secure. Luckily, Compound has been around for a similar time frame to Celsius, so about 2 years now. And the great thing about tracks on a security logistics basis, you can kind of measure the security of a smart contract by the time it's been around, alongside the amount of funds that are on it, because there's more and more for someone who knows a breach in the contract or some kind of technical flaw that they could be as a malicious actor find a way to get access to funds. They would have probably taken upon that breach earlier on and stuff, because there's an incentive to do so. So anyways, yeah, the thing is both of them are highly secure. They're well audited. Compound goes through routine audits as a smart contract. So again, there's a lot of security parameters built in. And then you had asked as well, what's the difference between Digifox and Lennon.io? So we're not really a competitor per se with Lennon. In fact, I like Mauricio and the team. They're wonderful. Lennon is one of the equivalent. They'd be similar to Celsius. So they're a deposit partner that we could, for example, integrate into Digifox. And you would have an opportunity to choose, okay, Lennon's paying X percentage rate, or maybe I know recently they bumped up the rate to 10%, and then Celsius pays around 8.3%. So you could say, you know what, I want to go with Lennon because they pay a higher interest rate, or maybe you like some of the security parameters that Celsius has. We want you to have all the options on the market. And that's the key goal, is that, let's say, for example, Lennon drops the rate to 6%, just hypothetically speaking, and Celsius still pays 8%. You can migrate your funds over, and you can do it all intuitively from Digifox. So you don't have to do KYC again. You don't have to transmit your money or like send it from one wallet to another. It's already there in your Digifox wallet. You just have to withdraw and then reapply it to a new deposit pool. So that's the big benefit of Digifox. We're aiming to be your all-in-one finance platform at the end of the day.
Exactly. Cool. And then Keith says, and I think this is another question for you, are there plans to include coins other than ERC20s?
Yeah, Keith, this is a great question. So yes, we do. We actually hopefully this week or next week, I'm speaking about probably actually about next week, that's Friday. We're looking to support Bitcoin, Litecoin, and a few other cryptos initially through our deposit partner Celsius. So you'll be able to get once you do your Celsius KYC, you'll be able to get a Bitcoin, Litecoin, and a wide range of other cryptocurrency deposit addresses. However, keep in mind that this is it's a custodial ownership through Celsius. So again, they are your funds, but Celsius is holding them for you, and you're earning interest on them, which is a nice perk. In the sense of having like just holding Litecoin or Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies under your management, like you do with your ERC20 tokens, that's going to be a little bit of a ways out, because what we need to do is we need to make Digifox a multi-currency wallet, and that includes having a wallet or basically a public-private key pair that is tap into all of your funds. So we're working on that. That's something that's probably going to come in probably more like around November, December. But initially, what's nice is that you can instantly deposit a wide range of cryptos in a smart wallet. And along with that, you're earning interest on it. And, again, we use Celsius. I have a lot of my money in Celsius. I think it's a great platform. So again, we have the trust in it ourselves as a company, but the user has to make that decision if they want to use that.
And then MacBook Air 2020 says, are you planning to compete with Revolut? Is that how you say it? I don't think I did.
Yeah.
Or any sort of this bank in the future, rather than being only a crypto wallet? Do you know that there's a super competitor already doing this? And then I think the next question is from the same person. I mean, there's a startup using both sides, banking and crypto, 10 times better than Revolut.
Yeah. So in regards to this question, well, first off, I'm a big fan of Revolut and a lot of other different companies out there. There's a lot of great new emerging fintech apps. I'm actually in Europe at the moment, and there's a lot of people here who are obviously very aware of Revolut. So here's the thing about Digifox. Like any company, there's going to be stepping process to basically getting to our ultimate vision of being an all-in-one finance app. But in the sense of Revolut, you could say that we're in a sense, again, I'm not wanting to really try to compete with people, but I think that in this case, you could see us as competition to Revolut and other kind of neo-banks in a sense. Digifox is really aiming to be initially the best way to earn interest on your savings and buy crypto. And once we nail this down, we aim to be more of a payments application. So that's, again, going to be a few quarters out. But once we start getting to that, we're going to have basically a standard of 0 fees, instant settlement transactions on your stable coins and crypto. So again, becoming a very, very optimal payments app. And the last thing we're going to have as well is the ability in this case to basically be your all-in-one replacement. So we're going to have a whole range of features that basically make it where you never need to leave the app. You don't need to have a dozen different apps scattered on your phone. The thing about, applications like Revolut and even some of the new age banking apps like Robinhood here in the United States, they're great, but they don't cover all the grounds of usually what you need. Revolut, I would say, gets closer to that vision, but I still think that they've got a ways to go to really provide the kind of ultimate experience for the end user, which we're shooting for. So in the sense of asking the question, is there any competitor that's already doing this? Not exactly the way that we're going about it, but there's a lot of new fintech applications to where I wouldn't be confident saying that there's not others out there. The good news is just like in the traditional world of banking, there's going to be room for other players. There's as much as you can get a network effect and get users, finance as an industry grows a lot slower than other industries. So there's going to be, I think, much like there's different banking brands, there's going to be many Digifoxes out there in the world. But we just hopefully, with our customer support, with our approach and our philosophy as a company, I think that we're going to be able to come out on top in the long run, realistically. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, that brings up a really good point that I kind of want to highlight, is that that is kind of one of our main priorities is customer support. And I just want to give Nick a shout out here. He spends about 2 to 3 hours every day working on customer support tickets and just answering. He's the CEO. He still does that, and that's really inspiring to me. as an employee. And that's just something that Nick has always told everyone, like, this is something that's it's going to be our main focus no matter what, is being good at customer support and caring about our users. So it makes me really proud to work here.
Thank you, Hope. I appreciate it. And seriously, I mean, honestly, guys, like, the reason why we take this so close to heart is I originally worked at a company in Silicon Valley. It was a project management company. And I saw this standard for customer service that I'd never seen in a company before, where, again, even the CEO did the exact same thing. He spent at least a couple of hours every morning, still does to this day. And they've gone from a company at the time that was just launching their project management software to being one of the fastest growing companies in the Valley when it comes to productivity software. And again, it's because people, they really don't expect that good experience. And the really sad thing is that it's not only prevalent in, kind of industries like project management, which could already be frustrating as is, but it's not prevalent in finance. And finance is such a complex sector. Hope and I, and many of the other team members, we're interested in finance, but we still get stuck on things. Like when we're not using when you're using apps outside of Digifox that we're not familiar with sometimes, and you just can't get someone on the line sometimes. And it's incredibly frustrating when your money is on the line. Yeah. So we're basically, long story short, I just wanted to emphasize that. I appreciate your comments, Hope. And again, anyone, if you have any feedback or questions, just know that there's a human on the other line. It's not just some, bot network that's going to tell you to press 4, I think no one wants a call center that's going to take you to instead of a menu of options by pressing different numbers. It's nice to have a human for a change.
Yeah. The other day I called some company and tried to get them on the phone, and it said, press this number for this, press this number. So I did that, and at the end it said, please go to this website, and then it hung up on me.
I had something worse, Hope. I was actually trying to get in contact with like a government body here while I've been traveling.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can expect it wasn't the best, but basically I listened to the entire wait list, and I got to the 6th option where it said, if none of these apply, click it. I clicked it, and get this, it literally just paused for a second, and it said goodbye. And so it was just like the pinnacle of like, wow, like I can't just talk to someone. Like
they make it impossible to find a real person.
Yeah, it's really almost a shock in the face, basically saying, we don't want to take your call and stuff. Like, so again, at Digifox, we do hope to have like in the future and stuff, we want to constantly find ways where we can engage with our users. If there's like a dire situation, maybe we can get someone on the line. We're trying to make it where it makes practical sense for the business, but the biggest thing is that you can message us directly from there. You don't have to email us. You don't have to reach out to us on social media. It's all from the same app. Again, building on that all-in-one finance app mentality.
Yep. All right. Anonymous says, what is the risk to lend out USDC in Digifox? And I think we kind of sort of already answered this.
Yeah, same exact risk as we talked about earlier. So I think Anonymous probably heard us answer that by this time.
Yeah, it's basically just we're trusting Celsius. Digifox doesn't actually store any funds, and we don't have access to anybody's funds. I've had people ask me, like, can you make this trade for me, or can you do this for me? And I'm like, I can't, because you're the only one.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah, we're on legal terms. We're not a broker dealer. It's like a traditional exchange. So there's really like, if you want to, deposit funds, or you want to like to earn interest or to trade, you have to use our providers. And that's the whole kind of model for Digifox, is we're an interface into interacting with all these services.
And I did drop an article written by Samantha on Digifox security in the chat too, if anyone wants to.
Perfect. That's perfect. Yeah.
Another anonymous question: are you planning to launch a Digifox debit card, since there are already many ATMs worldwide in Austria, Spain, Singapore, etc.? This is a cool question. I actually asked yesterday or the day before, like, when this was going to come out. And I don't know the exact date. I just know that we were pushing it out so that we could launch it to more regions, more geographical regions at the same time. Nick, I think, has the list of all the regions that we're going to be available in now.
Yeah, so we're looking to hopefully drop it sometime in the winter. So it might be a good holiday gift for the Digifox user base. But basically, the debit card right now would only be able to be supported in the U.S. With the partner that we're using. So we're looking by the time in December to cover the United States, Canada, the broader EU, the UK, Australia, and even hopefully cover a few other additional regions in the world. It really depends on how fast they get regulatory approval. But yeah, we're very, very excited. And this is a debit card you'll be able to use at the vast majority of merchants across the globe. So it's really, really exciting to know that you'll be able to spend your crypto just like you would normally money from your bank. And also as well, you can also be able to use Digifox as a semi kind of remittances app, basically by sending a peer-to-peer payment from, let's say you have a family member overseas in another country, you could send them USDC. They can save their wealth in USDC on the Digifox app and earn interest if their country is allowed by Celsius or if they use Compound. And then when they're ready to actually spend it, they just swipe their debit card and then presto, it converts to the local currency and they're able to spend it just like they would from a traditional bank account. And voila, you'd have no need for Western Union, no need for remittance apps whatsoever. So
That's
goodbye, ridiculous fees.
So you can tell Nick doesn't like fees.
Yeah. I try to keep positive and stuff, but I don't like it when it hurts the most vulnerable people. That's the worst thing about traditional finance.
Yeah. Owen says, what does the timeline look like for Bitcoin? Oh, I love this question.
Yeah.
So I actually asked that to Chase, our lead engineer, the other day, and asked him kind of when they're going to work on that. I think by the earliest or latest, it would probably be end of August, around there. For those of you who don't know and who are new to all this like I am, Ethereum and Bitcoin operate on different blockchains. And I didn't even know that was a thing, but it is. And we are an Ethereum wallet. We don't have the blockchain for Bitcoin right now. So we don't integrate with that right now. So it's a work in progress, and should hopefully be available by end of August, if not September. But
yeah.
I'm excited.
So I just noticed the name Owen. Hope you're doing well, man. I know it's been a while. But yeah, no, to your question, just to kind of build on what you stated, Hope, I guess as we mentioned, there's two ways of Bitcoin deposits, like owning your own keys. That's going to be a ways away. But Celsius, basically through Celsius, once you do KYC, and we're hoping to make it once you do KYC through your deposit partner, your KYC info, you can consent to share it with Celsius, so you can already submit for approval. And then in that case, by the time your funds have arrived, it's likely that you've been approved and you can deposit in Celsius and start earning interest and hold Bitcoin, Litecoin, all these different assets. So that'll make us a multi-currency wallet here in the next week or so. So we're very excited about that. But yeah, holding your keys will be a ways away.
Mm-hmm. Anonymous says, I have ERC20 tokens / coins holding in different exchanges. Can you please explain security of Digifox and trust to store all of my ERC20 tokens in one app?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think we probably, this was back at 922, we probably talked a little bit about this, but just to simplify it again, Digifox, much like a traditional wallet, gives no control to us at Digifox, over your funds as a user. You are the manager of your own keys. The great thing about Digifox as an application is that it's extremely intuitive. You don't have to worry about 12 or 24 words being the life or death. If you miswrite something, if you misplace one of the words, or you just don't write down your seed phrase at all, that's a massive security flaw with traditional wallets. So with our case, you're basically deploying a smart contract on the Ethereum blockchain that can only be controlled through your phone number and your email. And it can only be recovered and accessed through your phone number and email. So again, very important to understand that. And basically what it does is it's storing the local public-private key pair on your device in that case, which is your address, which is the public, and then the private key, which is what actually is used to sign the transaction. So again, secure just like a traditional wallet in that case, but a different means of security measurement.
We go into more, Samantha goes into more detail in the article that she wrote that I put in the chat too, so if you want to read that.
Absolutely.
And then if you have any other questions about it, you can message us on Intercom and we'll answer your question there too. Cool. Simon says, does the new DAC6 affect Digifox in any means? I have no clue what he means, so this is for you.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Simon. I'd have to know what the acronym is referring to. I can actually look it up real quick and see if see it real quick. Okay, so this is some kind of basically new policy in relation to the EU on cross-border tax arrangements. So in regards to like reporting, it looks like. Yeah, so I'd have to look a little bit more into it, Simon, to really see in this case. I'm assuming, you know, when it comes to working through traditional payment rails, so like bank transfers, in that case it is. I'm not 100% certain through us as a crypto wallet. So if you're sending, you know, Bitcoin, or if you're sending USDC from one wallet to another, I don't know if that applies there. Or is it, you know, when you have a bank account, you're sending it to another bank account in another country, you're going through traditional payment rails, you're clearly going through cross-border payments. So I'd have to look into that. But I'll talk to our attorneys about that. We're constantly making sure that we maintain regulatory standards within the company. But yeah, I'll be certain to look into that.
And Anonymous says, when are you planning to close this round? How much capital have you raised in previous rounds? This is a pre-seed, seed, or pre-money stage. What can we expect as investors from your side? And when are you planning to step down from this project and or startup once things go the wrong way as expected?
That's a good question at the end. I'll be happy to answer that. So in regards to
drop the WeFunder link while you're talking.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just in case. Yeah. So when are you planning to close this round? So the round can go as long as I think October 2nd or 3rd. It's a equity crowdfunding. So people are getting, you'd asked about like how much capital we already risen so far. In previous rounds, we had raised no previous capital. The only capital I would say that we've technically on a legal terminology have risen was distributions that I made as a founder of the company. So I self-funded the pre-seed rounds, if you wanted to put it that way. And we're doing our seed round through the equity crowdfunding platform, WeFunder. What can we expect as investors from your side? So by investing, you get basically what's known as safe notes. This is the technical investment standard that the vast majority of companies in the Valley use. Basically, it's a form of convertible equity, very fancy term for basically saying that when we go on to do our next round, our Series A round, where we probably are going to raise in about a year, when we actually close that Series A, your safe notes converted to actionable equity or stock in the company. It just basically avoids the process and cost of having to do a raise in such an early part of the company's life, where there can be a lot of cost and wait time associated. So it helps companies get off the ground, get that capital they need, and actually start getting things out. And you can also get some perks as well for investing. As Hope mentioned, there's a list of perks that you can see on the right-hand side of the WeFunder link that she posted in the chat.
Yep.
And you asked me, when are you planning to step down from the project or start up once things start going wrong, in the wrong way as expected? So yeah, it's funny and honest that you mentioned, like, I know very well that most startups are going to probably fail. But I hope it proves something that for the entire pre-seed portion of the company, we had opportunities for investors. I met with a VC or more of a family fund in Australia during the time when I was looking to get pre-seed capital for the company. And, there was these opportunities where I could have raised, pretty much the equivalent of what I put into the company. But I decided, I said, you know what, I really believe that if I want this company to be not so much, I don't really desire just to make it a unicorn company, right? I know everyone wants to build a unicorn and have $1 billion valuation. I don't care about that. I want to build a company that actually reshapes people's lives. And if I can leave an impact for 1 million people, I'm going to be happy, but I'm not going to be satisfied until we get to 10 million, until we get to 100 million, until we get to 1 billion, and to hopefully the entire world, right? So for me, this is, one of the most passionate industries that I've worked in my life. I've been in finance for the last 9 years as a personal hobby, and then also I've made it a career through my YouTube channel, Data Dash, and through Digifox as a company. And I think, just as Hope was mentioning earlier, like we all kind of just share this energy where we get up every morning and we've got something to fight for. So I don't plan to leave the company at all. I want this to be its own standalone company. I really hope we can take it public one day. And yeah, that's my end goal in that case. As a major shareholder, I want to keep leading the company. And yeah, so anyways, hopefully that answers the question. I want to keep it as candid as possible. But if you have any other questions, feel free to ping me over on the customer support window. I'm not shy from taking any criticism or kind of harsh questions that you might have.
That's something else that I really love about Nick. This is going to turn into all the things Hope likes about Nick. But but that he's super open and honest with not just the people that he works with, but all the users as well. Honestly, when he says he'll talk to you on intercom, he will talk to you on intercom. Like he will chat back and forth with users all the time. I've seen it. It's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just to build on that too, like, as Hope mentioned, like, one thing, like, it just take a step back on, like, deciding to self-fund. I think being able to self-fund in the first round and then turn towards the community during our equity crowdfund for our seed round, being able to not only involve the community is great, but on a strategic business sense, being able to avoid venture capital, who usually doesn't have the better interest of the company in the earliest of stages, is absolutely phenomenal for making sure that, we don't get to a point where a company sells out on its vision, it starts doing things to cut corners. I've seen it with too many companies. We saw it when we were in the Valley. There was a company, the company I was working at, the project management company, we were self-funded, and our other competitor was raising a massive round from their VC. They put out maybe 2 or 3 new features every year. We put out a new feature every week. So you get, I think there's a different standard. You can either raise a bunch of capital and go down the traditional route that's comfortable, or you can do something that's a little more kind of, dependent on you really going out there, kind of grinding a bit harder and building something that really benefits everyday people. And, doing it maybe with less capital as well. So that's why we decided to raise less than most of the companies around us.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's cool, but that's another reason why we want to do the webinars is basically you guys are our investors. So having a chance to talk and hear from you guys directly is really important to us. Yeah. And then Paulrick asks a very similar question. I think we might have already answered it, but he clarifies how to pronounce his name. So thank you so much. I did remember it halfway through, and so I'm glad we get to answer another question from him. What is the difference going to be between this round of funding and the next round of funding? And is September 15th the end of the round? When does the next round begin?
Yeah, so Park, to answer your questions, the difference, I can't really tell you that right now because I just generally don't know what valuation we're going to be raising at. So, because basically, as I mentioned, it's going to be about a year out. So a lot can change in a year in the sense of our user base, our features, our revenue. Our projection is probably somewhere in the standard ballpark of like a Series A, like what we're going to be raising, how much equity distribution. So you can find there's a lot of great resources online that kind of show like what's the average fintech, Series A raise. I would say that's somewhere in that ballpark. But again, can't commit to anything. In the sense of like investing now, you're certainly probably going to be investing in a better valuation now than what you're going to be investing in a Series A. It tends to be the company's valuations rise and they do bigger raises and they dilute less equity over time. But you were mentioning as well, September 15th. So I just want to mention that this round doesn't end on September 15th. It's October 2nd or 3rd. So in that case, if you got some good time, in this case, the thing to keep in mind is that we raised from the valuation we're at right now from day one where we didn't have any users. So if you're investing now, you're investing at the same valuation when we now have revenue, when we have a even larger team. We've got over 6,400 users. Yeah, so there's a huge basic gap that can still be filled. We can raise up to $1,070,000, which is our target. So basically, if you want to invest now, you're still welcome to, just as much as someone from day one. So there's no penalty for being later, outside of the fact that we had an early bird round in this case for the first 100,000. So, anyways, yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Sorry again for the mispronunciation, Parika. We try not to scuff names because we're pretty bad.
Hopefully this time, since we've been reminded twice, we'll remember it this time. But it's a really cool name. I like it. Anonymous says, how are you going to join into MEA market like UAE, Qatar, I'm totally butchering this, where it is not allowed, and on the other hand, where there are many laborers ready to get their financial freedom? How can we help them?
Yeah, so in that region, we want to, my understanding, the UAE, and maybe in Qatar, I don't remember about the regulations specifically in Qatar, but it seems like the UAE generally, has been really positive towards crypto. I don't know if that's changed. But I know there's a lot of blockchain enterprise developments there. A lot of family funds, in the region that invest in crypto. As I went to Dubai, I don't really know exactly if that tone has changed, but we're going to make sure we can do everything not so much per se push the boundaries, but try to do as much as we can to uplift people in those regions while also keeping compliant. Especially as you mentioned, a lot of the laborers there and stuff. Our goal, just to kind of explain that, is basically we want someone in Dubai to have the same level of financial freedom as someone in the US or any other country across the world where you have financial freedom. The best opportunities, the ability to have your money in the form of currency of choice or the form of stable coin, whatever it may be. That's our key goal. So hopefully that answers your question. It might be a bit vague and kind of visionary, but that's the best I can give right now in the sense of like what we want to do for regions like UAE.
Awesome. MacBook Air 2020 says, thanks for your honesty. I made many questions, some of them mistakenly anonymous, attendee unintentional. The answer for Revolut has been great, and the answer about startups is great. You are honest. Actually, we are investors in that project. We know this market quite well. And actually, we will invest in your project in many different ways.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate the questions. And honestly, yeah, I mean, we're honestly big about just being, straight up honest and stuff. We've got a long way to go as a company, but we admire the works of Revolut. Honestly, I remember when I first found out about Revolut back in, I think it was 2018 when I tried to follow a lot of neo banks, but the problem is that I'm a U.S. resident, so Revolut isn't very popular in per se the U.S. It's more of a lot of fragmented apps like Venmo and Cash App that are big, or like Wealthfront and a lot of other things like that, or Robinhood. So I got to say Revolut's done a good job of merging a lot of things into one app, similar to what we want to do. And I wish them all the best, because our real enemy at the end of the day is another new neo bank. It's really the traditional banks. We want to see a new wave of companies come in.
Oh, you heard that.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, sorry. I apologize. I was a bit distant away from the hotspot I was on. But yeah, long story short, the general goal is to see neobanks and other applications that perform better services than traditional banks and traditional financial companies thrive.
And then there's an anonymous attendee, and then MacBook Air 2020 again. It kind of have the same question, so I'll just ask them both at the same time. Can you tell us about Digifox roadmap or upcoming features? And then MacBook Air 2020 says, do you have a roadmap or any sort of bot trading full automated? So I think we can answer both of those at the same time.
Yeah, just to let you all know, my battery is a bit low right now, so I might knock out in a second. But I just wanted to mention, yeah. So there's basically three things I would say about like the kind of product vision or roadmap. So we have three phases as a company. We want to be basically a new age finance platform first, so to basically make it as simple to buy crypto and earn interest as possible, with as little barriers as possible, and open to as many people as possible. Second thing is to become a payments app. So not only for like the equivalent of what you'd use for remittances, but also you're sending cash to friends or maybe paying in crypto, right? The third thing is becoming an all-in-one finance app. So you can generally start to kind of think, if you think about like those kind of focus points, what kind of features are going to come with it. But anything you could ever want in a finance app, our goal was to integrate it and make it seamless and design an experience around you as a user. So custom layouts, things like that. This is our roadmap for the next year, year and a half, probably being a bit more conservative, but that's what we're aiming for. In the sense of like automated services, yes, we do have hopes to provide automated services from within the app where you can automate your activities and keep it very simple. So you don't have to constantly revisiting the app to do things.
Awesome. MacBook Air says, apart from money, if we're going to be a small investor, are we going to have access to you to advise you because we have huge expertise?
So it depends. I can try to make time and stuff basically to see like, what kind of advice. If you could just send me some resources over the intercom chat through our customer support, let me know. Feel free to send any materials over. I would definitely keep open to it. It's just that I'm a bit time restricted as we've been, doing the launch of the app, but nonetheless, I try to basically make time for anyone who's willing to invest in us. But yeah, no, it depends. On one of the tiers, we actually have it where like,
yeah, I was going to say,
yeah, do the call and stuff. Yeah, but in that sense, nonetheless, I'll try to make time and stuff. But it would be just to guarantee it in that case and stuff. There's the investor tier, but I'm not very stingy about that and stuff. I'll try to make the time if I can.
Actually, if you invest a certain amount, Nick will have dinner with you. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the dinner tier. Yeah, that's Yeah, it's just it's many ways that we basically want to make sure you feel comfortable that you'll have the time to converse and stuff, and just basically like, not only especially if you're willing to invest those kind of tiers and stuff in the company, it means a lot to me and I know the team, but also just, guaranteeing that there's a way where you can sit down, have a one-on-one conversation, no distractions, just talking about the business model and what we're aiming to do.
Yeah, cool. And then another question from MacBook Air. It says, are you planning to be the first car crypto wallet so as to be a pay gate from any car to, I think car or card, I don't know, to anyone without having your, you might want to read this one. I don't really know exactly what he's saying.
So basically, no. MacBook was basically asking like, basically have the ability where you could use your car as a wallet, becoming fully autonomous. So like, well, from my understanding, like passing through like a toll or something, you'd be able to pay with your car. That's pretty interesting. The thing I see about that, two things. I don't mean to shoot down the idea of that. I think it's really phenomenal. Like as we're seeing with Teslas and a lot of new cars, your phone, or basically the components you usually have in your phone, can be built in your car, rather than just having a radio. Right, with new smart cars, it's becoming much more functional. So in that case, yeah, we would love to see like, especially I know with the new Apple car and there's a few other ones coming out, they're gonna have like basically the same software iOS that you'd have on your phone or your tablet. Hopefully we can be that. We can basically support, hopefully, where you could do that. I don't know, being able to do it autonomously, where you just kind of drive through it. I think you'd have to work with a lot of government like officials to actually make that happen, who are running those toll networks, or the private companies that run them. It really depends. So I can't say yes to that, but I would love to see Digifox do that. I mean, as Hope was kind of getting interested, just hearing the idea, that would be interesting to explore that.
That would be really cool. You wanna read this one?
Yeah, Michael said, I like your way and sense of humor after my question when you're planning to step down. You deserve our support, and we will help you more than you could expect. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. And if there's any kind of feedback and stuff there you want to enter a conversation, feel free to let us know and stuff. But yeah, if you have any questions about the WeFunder as well, feel free to let us know. But we try to keep things as wholesome as possible. We need more of it in crypto and finance.
Anonymous says, Hope, how do you feel about working for the nicest dude in crypto?
All right. You know what? I'm getting too flattered and stuff here. And actually, I might get knocked out because I'm at 1%. But
oh, okay. We might have to. Okay, we have a lot more questions, but if you guys have more questions, please submit them in the intercom chat. Nick's phone is gonna die soon. So, and it's 3 o'clock or 3 o'clock my time, 4 o'clock Eastern. So we probably want to wrap it up here soon. But thank you guys so much for joining. If you have more questions we didn't get to, we're so sorry. But put them in Twitter, and we'll answer them there, or if we put them in intercom, and we'll answer them there too. But thank you so much for being here, Nick. It's always super fun. And
yeah,
question, it is super great working for Nick. So yes.
Well, thank you very much, Hope. It's a blessing to have you and everyone on the team, and thank you all for joining in. It was really nice as always. And yeah, Hope, myself, and maybe even someone else from the team as well will join us for the next one. So take care, everyone. It was awesome being here.
Yep. Take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.